What is up, folks? So I have some other videos that I need to catch up on, that I still need to upload. However, it felt like the world, or the people, the community, needed this video first. A video of reconciliation, a video of forgiveness, and a video of the truth needs to be stated, even though it can be very painful. It can be triggering, stress inducing. Real nourishment to the human body is not for a parasite. The human body doesn't need or doesn't require nourishment in the form of starches, which we could quickly call carbonic acids, right? This is what Sebi goes into. The first thing he does to get the mucus out of a person is he removes starches, carbonic acids. He removes uric acid, blood, and then he removes lactose, milk. And then he just removes everything else that's really acidic. Why? Well, all the dis-ease, all the cellular degeneration happens in acidity, happens where the parasite thrives. And it's funny because I'm shooting this under a full moon today. And of course, I have lots of cravings and stuff too. But I indulge in what God created. I indulge in what is good. And from that point, right, of at least keeping my indulgences or my quote unquote vanity, like and all this kind of stuff, in what is good, at least you can lose a battle and win a war. You see what I'm saying? So, and then once in a while I'll go on a 13-day grape fast or a grape juice fast or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So if you can keep your indulgences within what God has made, your indulgences will be very forgiving. But if you go out and do a bunch of alcohol, if you go out and do a bunch of hard drugs, if you go out and you do a bunch of meat, carcass, if you go out and do a bunch of starchy foods, what are you going to end up with? Acidity, mucus, problems. So again, the microorganisms that are malignant to the body, they don't think in terms of good nourishment. They don't think in terms of herbs and fruits that are undergoing iontophoresis that break down the minerals for you. The God created plants that can absorb these minerals and give them to you, right? And digest them, pre-digest them for you so that the mother can regurgitate what you can't eat for you. And at the same time, even the spring is good too. When nature, like for instance, when water is flowing out of nature, nature does it better than man can do it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you could talk about rain and stuff too. You can say rainwater is a great source. It's probably both. Distilled water is good when you're trying to take things out of the body, but again, it's very close to 7 pH, right? High pH spring water, again, has healing qualities in it already. It's like the magic is already infused. But distilled water is a very good cleaner. So it's not bad or good. It seems like there's different uses for it, right? So it's these kinds of things. But sorry, we're getting off topic. Parasites don't think in terms of trying to get foods inside of you that are very nourishing, energizing, and full of nutrients. And funny enough, these are herbs and fruits. Parasites don't think in terms of, and again, I'm not saying I'm free of parasites. Parasites don't think in terms of, if I just eat fruit, I'll be okay. Only a still mind comes to see that that is true. Only a still mind, right? An unwavered a free of parasitology type mind can say the truth is the truth is that if you find good fruit that has lots of minerals, or at least you're supplementing with herbs that have minerals for sure, and go on fruit, you can heal anything. You can regenerate anything. And again, for all the worrying mothers out there, because I totally get it. As a mother, you want to make sure 100% that your child is being provided for, that it is getting all of the nutritional requirements it needs, right? As a mother, that's priority number one. We have to state the truth. A child can thrive on monofruit, especially if that fruit is full of nutrients. Let's say the fruit is getting spring water. That child can be sustained or can thrive and develop very fast and quicker than other children that are degenerating, as Sebi did with hemp milk and sea moss. Children can thrive on a mucus-free diet. You know, the system of fear, the system of made-up illnesses, that system is the system that makes you think in terms of lack, in terms of survival, in terms of unsanitary conditions, in terms of unethical slaughtering, in terms of all this, in terms of growing seedless foods. That's what the system is good at. They make you think in terms of lack. If you didn't think in terms of lack, you would be real simple. And that's the thing. Our body works best simple. Our body works best when digestion is kept to a minimum. So when I'm indulging in quinoa once a day at night towards the end, you know, that's the most complex I'm going to get. Is a God-made grain, right? And some other veggies made with it and cooked. That's the extent, right? But when I break the fast lightly, I'm not eating anything. I'm drinking water, or it's dates, or some walnuts, or maybe just orange juice. I have some oranges in this bag right now that I'm going to hydrate with. But anyhow, simplicity is key in digestion. Why? Because the less the digestion, the blood is going and the energy is going and being utilized there, it can recreate and mitigate and dissolve all the bad wastes, and at the same time it can rebuild and regenerate and reconstruct new and strong virulent cells. So again, when we keep it simple for our body, we make it real easy for ourselves. So since we love Dr. Sebi so much and we love what he's brought forth, the mother and the alkaline electric reality of magnetism and all of these things, again, what did he do? First of all, it's funny and it's true, what got him to find this was impotency, right? He couldn't get it up for the life of him. He had diabetes, he had gout or whatever, or high blood pressure, and all of these different kinds of diseases, bad circulation. But what got him to find the answer, alkaline electrics, was he couldn't get his frickin' thing up at what, 30, 40 or something, right? He was pretty young. And, later he's on stage dropping to his knees and making babies at 80. So how do you explain that? Well, you explain that with a 63-day fast on Cusca, right, on a native cucumber to, I think, Mexico, right, and spring water and herbs. I think spring water, but herbs for sure. And in 63 days, he had no illness. He had no disease. So what does that imply? That implies in a scenario where there is an absence of acidic mucus creating events, all of the mucus must be drained. All of the waste, all of the metabolitic waste that is piling up and the lymphatic stagnation, all of this can be cleared. And so when all the waste is cleared from the body, there's clear thinking, there's a clear mind, there's a clear intention. Because an unclear intention is seeking foods constantly that don't nourish the mind, the body, the spirit, none of this. Because it is not aligned, right? Cosmically, naturally, genetically, in any way, anatomically, it is not aligned. And if we're eating foods that are not aligned, whew, so someone like me, again, the furthest I will indulge is cooked foods on Dr. Sebi's list. I just like to play it safe. It's just me personally. I'm not, even the people in our community, right? They have to make their own choices. I can't be watching them 24/7. It's just impossible. I can't be making choices for people. I'm the no choice man. Okay? I don't like choices. So because I don't have a choice, just me personally, I don't have a choice. You see what I'm saying? Like, my choices are within the alkaline electrics. Only there do I have this thing called choice. Outside of the alkaline electric food choice, I don't have one. Because again, what God didn't make is not my choice. I'm not going to choose it. I don't have a choice in this regard. Because my anatomy won't allow it. Even if my taste buds and my cravings and all of this stuff go at it so vehemently with the full moon, with the passion, with all this, something in me says no. Something in my gut says no. So, there's that. So yeah, if we could indulge in what was good, our our indulgences would be so forgiving. And again, I remember Sebi saying to a lady, she was asking, "Can I eat too much rye or can I eat too much wild rice? I feel like I'm having too much of it." He said, "You know, it's not going to hurt you. That's the main thing. Can we stick to things that don't hurt us? If we're forgiving to our own body is forgiving to us. Our own mind is forgiving to us, right? What does it mean to live coherently with one's own body, with one's own mind? What does that mean? That means with watching what I consume. And everyone has to work on that every second of the way, constantly. So for me, I guess it's a lot easier than others because I just don't think about going down a road that's not alkaline electric, nor do I give myself the time to even think about it. And since I've had this gap of time where I haven't indulged in that realm, I don't feel that pull. I don't feel that urge. So it's real simple. Even going in stores is so simple. Why? Because it's so narrowed down. Of course, I shouldn't be going to stores. Eventually, the whole Portugal community must work together and just create these God-given foods for everybody, regardless of who tries to stop us. We're feeding the nation, and we can't be stopped. We're feeding the nation real nutrition, not parasite food, not candida food. I'm talking real nutrition, God-given code, because that is a basic human right, and it is a basic responsibility. So can we change the way we look at things and actually think in terms of, hey, maybe I can just make everything I used to eat alkaline electric, not acidic. Maybe I can just try for a year and see and be really honest with myself. And then maybe for a year go back to, you know, starch or meat or whatever. But at least for a year, sit with myself and be honest and see how much mucus comes out. Again, we have a responsibility to our own temples, but to the nation, to be giving everyone food that is tasty, of course, but also healthy, that doesn't have any poison in it. Now we have normalized poison. What are we doing, folks? What part of acidic foods has love in it? None. Love doesn't have a smidge of hate in it. Love can't. Love can't hurt another. Hurting doesn't come from love. So it's that kind of a thing. But of course, love can be patient enough to sit with hurt, right? And to sit with pain, and to sit with agony, and to see that anyone in it from coming from a place where they've been surrounded by bad choices and bad nourishment, you know, anyone coming from that place would be hurt, would be in pain, would be in suffering. And me personally, I think perhaps I might have a huge detox soon. But so far, it's been very mild, just pooping out mucus here and there, and maybe one fever every, or not fever, but just like a lightheadedness kind of thing for every, like, I don't know, very rarely, maybe once every 3 months or something like that. And just one day I'm out and I just need more rest and then I come back, that kind of a thing. I haven't really had much of a huge detox, but I completely understand the people that are coming. And that's the other question and concern of a lot of people is, what about someone who's been so conditioned, when they come off, shouldn't they come off still with some conditioning, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's meat? Again, I'm no health care professional, but I can tell you this much, that my father is a doctor and he's a very, very unhealthy man. I love him to death and he's taught me a lot of good things, but again, he ain't eating right and it shows. And again, he's established. So from my unestablished, humble, commonsensical opinion, I'm telling you, you can't eat like that. You can't eat like how doctors and nutrition specialists tell you, because they don't know a thing when it comes to appreciating the fruit of the earth, the herb that God has given. They don't even know the code of Hippocrates. They don't even know poison from not poison. And not that I know everything, but at least I'm questioning. We should all question. And from a place of questioning, move on. So, for things on the list that are not on any list, just question. Me personally, I don't want to take the risk, but if you want to take the risk of trying to see different foods that are in grounds that haven't been kind of tested or found, that's up to you. And I applaud those that go and test new grounds and new foods and come to find different things. Like how Josh X does it. He does one thing for a week or a month or whatever and tests out foods that way. But anyhow, sorry, I'm jumping around here, but when it comes to like candida die-off and, when people are transitioning from conditioned states of eating, I personally think you cut it at the throat, with Medusa, with Parasites, with the samurai, with the Zen way. You cut all these parasitic urges instantly, a clean sweep at once, because that's the only way to do it. The only way to do it is to drop everything and go alkaline. That's the only way to do it, off these pharmaceuticals, off all of these artificial things, off of tobacco, off of food that just isn't created by God, really. Anything, any habit, it could be psychological. For me back then, it was intense, addictive gaming. Now I don't even have time for it, but I'm sure everyone can relate to some form of thing that's holding them back from having love in their heart, having love for others, having patience for others, helping others, and again, being abundant, being a real family member, a spark, a light, a fire, a torch. So again, I think the only way to do it is to drop it dead, die, have that baptism of fire, go cold turkey, drop it cold turkey. Because any other way to do it is not enough. I don't think you can ease off or wane off meat eating, acid eating. Any level of poison is poison. Let's just make it so simple, so purely simple. Any amount of poison is poison. Any amount of acid is acid. So let's just do it alkaline. Let's keep it alkaline. Let's go with the force of nature, not against it. Let's talk common sense. Let's think common sense. Let's be intelligent. And in common sense, I think, lies a question, right? Always question. What makes sense? What's purely logical? Let's put emotions in the right place. Because, emotions in the right place is ecstasy. So yeah, let's do this, guys. We can do it. We can eat fruit. We can breathe deep. We can make herbs. We can do it alkaline. We can heal every single person, mind, body, everything. We can heal it all. We can do it right. And when you do things right, even when things go wrong, it'll be okay because you're doing it right. But if you're not doing it right, if you're doing it wrong, when things go wrong, they go really wrong. Because even the important things will be, taken granted for. So if we can not take the important things for granted and keep the important things dear to our heart, have a set of values, a core standard for ourselves, to not be violent towards oneself or another, which involves food, which involves conversation, which involves action, everything. There is a way to live completely conflict-free. Not that you avoid conflict, but that there is a mind, there's a state of being, which is almost not being, where you don't have to be conflicted. You don't have to be opposed to anything. Peace is not in opposition to anything. Peace doesn't have opposites, right? Love doesn't have an opposite. Hate is not the opposite of love. Love doesn't derive its meaning from its opposite or from opposites. There is no opposition in love. Love is one. Love is unity, right? So in the same sense, health is one. Degeneration is many, is infinite. There's so many different ways to degenerate. There's so many different poisons to take. But rightful eating, the core group of minerals, there's one path, which is no choice. All other paths are full of choice, full of confusion, full of effort, full of degenerate ways. There are many ways to degenerate. That's what I'm trying to say. There's only one way to not degenerate, which is to not take acid. It's the negative way, the negating principle, to leave all degenerative methods out. I think that's the way. That's the only way. is no degeneration at all. Which means to face all degeneration and all conflict and literally take responsibility for all of it. That degeneration out there, that is the degeneration in here. That mankind's degeneration is the degeneration that is in me. And because of it, yes, I take responsibility for it. It is my degeneration. But at the same time, once I see it, if I don't act, something is wrong. I haven't examined something completely. I'm partially examining. I keep saying impartially, that's the wrong word. If I impartially examine, I won't partially examine. Yeah? If I'm impartially examining things, then I look and see the anatomy, for instance, and I see that, I don't have any claws. I don't have any teeth, that canine. I don't have I don't have a short intestine. I don't have anything that shows me I should rip apart another being and kill and cause unnecessary pain. However, Dr. Morse will tell you that in the absence of food, yes, a human body can take nutrition out of meat. In a survival situation where there is no food, where one is starved, literally starved, when one is fasting, then one can eat meat and get good nutrition out, necessary nutrition out of it, right? But unless one is absolutely starving, it's just nitrogen stimulation, right? There's no need because, again, the purest form of nourishment to a primate is fruit. Again, herbs, you have to add a process of cooking, right? With grains, with quinoa, you have to use fire. Of course, fire is nice during winter. Of course, fire is nice when you want to have some kind of alchemical process, but really the easiest thing is no fire at all. There's already a fire in the sky that cooks those fruits perfectly. And I could even dehydrate those fruits too. And it'd be a much gentler fire than the fires I use to make alkaline electric cooked dishes, right? So, again, if we just eat right, so many things would solve itself. If we just realize that simplicity, right, that a path that is not complex at all, fruit, seed, reproduction, reciprocation, energy exchange, waste removal. My waste becomes trees' food, trees' food becomes my waste, or trees' waste becomes my food, and my waste becomes trees' food. It's a full circle. It's a complete equation. It's a complete circuit. And why do we try to think of ways to eat that's outside of this circuit? We already have the Garden of Eden on this earth, but some people choose to live outside of it. Garden of Eden is a mindset, really. And from the mindset, we create the place, or we bring in the place, or we go to the place. And maybe it's all three of these things. But the Garden of Eden is a mindset. Edenology is a logos, is really common sense thinking. And common sense is the highest law of the universe. And highest is not even a good word for it because it's not about high or low. Nature is everywhere, high and low, left and right, in and out. It's all nature. It's all a sine wave. It's all a torus. Nature is so beautiful. And what is unnatural is so ugly. And we know, deep down we know. We've seen the ugliness out there and in ourselves. And we've also seen nature.